Hey, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming. We got people in the chat fighting over who gets to post first. So I don't know. That's got to be good. Mike says, not the first, but I'm the best. Nims, second. Yeah, okay. So how is everybody doing today?
Doing
We
all
got
right.
got a full house today. We've got myself, obviously, Roger. Jason is to my right. Well, my left, your right, whatever. Stan, Degato, Troll Dan Painting. Below him, we got Dan, Final Arbiter, and this guy who's I don't know. He's the only one that we've had on the show so far that looks better than I do, I think. This is Grim Jim.
That's such a low bar, Roger.
Down here.
Setting it very
Damned
high.
with faint praise.
But he's definitely got a better beard than the rest of us. I'll tell you that. I mean,
Sorry,
I
Mike.
shaved mine. I shaved mine, but still mine was like a scraggly mess, So yeah, yeah. See, as Mike says, Dan, the beard needs a little work. You gotta get there.
Yeah.
You
Sorry.
gotta get there. One of these things is not like the other. There's a lot of differences going on. There's only one of us wearing a hat. That's probably what you're talking about. Anyway, Grim Jim is here. He's got a little project on a little project. I'm sorry, I don't mean he's got a project on Kickstarter right now. Stray Crows, right, is the name of it. It says Stray Crows Ronin. And Ronin is the we'll get into that. That's the game, right? And the first book. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Oh boy, he's still talking about the lightning. Long story. They had some convention.
No, not really. We were at a convention and he lightning bolted the shit out of me. The end. I died.
Okay, I guess it's a short story. So short story.
Vince.
So what I got some cool stuff, and by cool stuff I mean some crazy stuff that I'm into. But what'd you guys get? I know Jason's got something to show off because he's been trying to get him to focus the whole time we've been backstage.
Yeah. do you want me to go first or go last?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so
because those are cool.
Yes, at last year's or this was it
This year's
months ago.
Yeah.
At CNY 2, I swore that I was not going to buy any more dice like 2 years ago, and I've done pretty well about that. I've got more than enough. But I was talking to the Imp Show guys, and unfortunately, they had dice, and they had some really nice dice. So I bought a set of their Obsidian, which are absolutely beautiful.
I bought those too.
And I bought these glass dice, and I was trying to light them so that you guys could see how well they actually sparkle. These things are absolutely mesmerizing. So anyway, so I bought a set of these, and they're glass, and I took them to the table, and I was playing with them, and when I dumped the bag out, there were glass fragments in the bag, and I was like, oh. So I very carefully looked at all the dice, and I found the one that was chipped. It was the 4-sided. And so I went over back to the Imp Show guys, and I was like, hey, I don't want to I'm not making a big deal out of this. It's not a problem. Just the glass dice they seem to be a little bit fragile. So maybe pack them in something that's not just a plastic bag, because it's just going to keep happening. They were very unhappy, not with me, but with the fact that the dice chipped. And they insisted on replacing my dice. And I was like, no, honestly, not a big deal. They did it anyway and sent them to me. So now I've got 2 sets of these incredibly beautiful dice, and they are stored inside this lovely silicone box. So they will never be used.
Yeah.
So nice. I got that, and I got 2 One Ring books. Went to the local gaming shop yesterday and picked up the 2 new books that were out that I didn't have. So my One Ring collection continues to grow.
Local.
Sweet.
Yeah. Area 51 and Cortland. Okay. It's an hour.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
not local.
All right.
But I live in BFE, so an hour away is local.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, you're pretty much an hour from anywhere. Like
yes.
there's no
this place is a geographical oddity. It's an hour away from everywhere.
Yeah, right. Nice. Cool. Stan, you got something?
Yeah, I got a few things. So
You're always
my
ordering stuff.
local, not this time. I just went shopping. My local game store had their 27th anniversary, and
Nice.
so they always have like a really good weekend for that, their anniversary weekend. So I came home with a pile of stuff. Where do we start? And I'm not joking when I
Yeah,
came with a pile. So I
I
picked
know. I
up
saw the picture.
Matt. Yeah, I sent you that picture. Talking to Matt there about the game Heart. I came home with the GM screen. Can't really see.
Nice.
That's like cool art on it. That's about really all it has because I looked on the inside of it and there's not much there. But there's also a adventure for it.
Oh, cool.
Dagger in the Heart hardcover book. That,
Is this for Daggerheart or is this?
No.
no.
I mean, you can
Separate
see
game.
why I'm asking. So
Yeah. No, this is not Daggerheart. This is there's a game that's up behind me called Heart, and it's kind of this weird, like horrific style game. I
okay.
played it once and really liked it, and figured I'd grab that stuff. I picked up a really rad looking Warhammer 40K miniature that I wanted for a while. Brought up
Yeah.
amongst a bunch of others. I got this. The new Necromunda skirmish game.
Cool.
The rule book for that just came out. So they had that on sale. And I picked up, oh Jesus, hold on. This will be an issue. I picked this up. They had like what they called so Sunday there was like what they called their yard sale. So they pulled out like all this old stuff that'd been kicking around forever and they just wanted to get rid of it. So they had like
Fantastic.
really good prices on it. And I picked up these 3 boxes of like
Oh my
Master
God.
Darkness,
Oh,
basically
Cool.
just for the miniatures.
Yeah.
And there's a
yeah.
full
CMON
bottle
games
of
are
them.
good for that, and not a whole lot else.
There we go. And yeah, so I got a ton of miniatures with that. And then I also grabbed this again for the miniatures. So I don't play the game, but I do use the miniatures in my role playing games. I got this box of Skaven
Oh my
Tide
God.
from GW,
Oh my!
and I got it for not a lot of money. And it's got 74 miniatures in it, amongst a bunch of other stuff.
Jesus.
I wanted
When are
it
you
for
going to
the
paint
state.
all this stuff?
You know,
It
thank
goes
God I'm
into the
retired.
queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As needed. I paint as needed.
Oh, okay.
I got some other
Okay.
ones too, but I already put them together. They're up on the shelf, assembled, not
Nice.
painted, but assembled.
Nice.
And my son even bought stuff, so I've been putting his stuff together too. So
Oh, nice.
But-
Yeah.
yeah,
Must be
I
nice.
think that's it.
I'm going to start
Yeah.
sending you minis when I get minis because they just sit on a shelf for me. I'm just going to send them to you
They
and
do
say,
me,
here,
too.
why don't you just put them together for me?
Oh
You
God,
know, I think
it's the worst part of it. I do it all the time, and I still don't like it.
Dan, what do you got? You got
All right.
anything good this week?
First, I went to during one of my half price books trips. I got a Frank Frazetta Illustrations
Ooh.
Arcana,
Nice.
which I have
Cool.
pre-selected what I can show because there's some things in here that would not be
Yes.
YouTube appropriate.
Yeah.
But like it's got pictures
That's
like
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
And hang on. Yep. And
Yeah,
pictures
same.
like that. And like cool stuff
Yeah.
like that. So just an art book. It was $5.
That's
Where'd you
awesome.
get this?
Half price books.
Excellent. I've got a Frazetta hanging up on the wall. Am I right?
Yeah, it was I was wandering by the sci-fi fantasy section right near the comic books. They had a couple books that had the black plastic around them that you had to like pull down to see where the boobies were. I
Ooh.
saw that and I was like, sweet, that's coming home with me.
Excellent.
And then Stan will recognize this because I was on a stream with him when I ordered it.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh,
New cover.
Cool.
So
new cover.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
got
That's on my list, the new cover.
Dread Dungeonomicon. I've been looking, the other two aren't there. And then I had a Kickstarter come in for OSE called Land of Mists and Adventures in the Mist. So
Okay.
it literally just pulled it out of the mailbox like an hour ago. So I haven't even really
Nice.
opened it up yet. But yeah, OSE world, and there's like new classes: Moondrow, Fairy, Mystic, Gremlin, Forester. Seems weird. We'll see.
Yeah. Definitely seems weird.
Yeah.
Like a fairy tale kind of thing.
So check it out.
I'm into it. I like weird.
Yeah, I know.
What about you, Grim? You get anything anything in?
I haven't had much recently because I've been dealing with print proofs and all of that nonsense. I did get the Avengers for
Oh,
the
okay.
Marvel Multiverse RPG
Cool.
the other day. So there's a
I
review of
saw
that.
that you posted a video of that. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I reviewed that. Yeah, one of the better incarnations of a superhero game, I think. The Marvel
It's
Multiverse one.
the Marvel's got a lot of them out.
Yeah, Cortex, and there was a diceless one that used beads, and there was advanced Marvel superheroes and basic Marvel superheroes, and then Saga, and
Wow, yeah.
yeah, a bunch.
And this one's the 616 system or something. Is that
Yeah.
this? I looked at. I haven't played it, so I can't pass too much judgment here. But it seemed a little like fiddly with the dice. Is it?
A little bit. I mean, the 616 thing is a gimmick, so you can kind of house rule that away. I think it's the most complete version of a Marvel superheroes game we've had since the TSR days, and I would probably place it close in how good it is to the old TSR Marvel superheroes.
Okay.
So yeah, I rate it.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I saw some of your videos on the print proofs. I didn't want to bring up some of those issues, but yeah, but no, it's cool. It's cool that you're getting print proofs and that you're doing that. I mean, I've seen Kickstarters where they don't get print proofs, and then they order merchandise. They order the copy, and it comes in, and there's issues, and then it's like, now it's a disaster. It might not get done, or you're arguing with some company in China usually, and trying to get them to reprint stuff, or or you're out whatever little money you end up making to try and make it right, and it's just it's a disaster. So we've seen that happen. I have a problem with Kickstarters. I back a lot of them, and so it's an issue for me. But I do like superhero games, so I might have to check that one out. I've seen it, and I was like, I don't know, it looks fiddly, and like you said, gimmicky with the 616 thing. But I'll have to try it out sometime and see how it goes. Me, of course, I mentioned I like some crazy stuff, but first I got this. This came in. I ordered this when Matt dropped it. Barrel Mail. It seemed pretty cool. It's like a barrel maze. Not barrel maze. Barrows in Borderlands. It's like his kind of version of chainmail and stuff, and thick book. He prints them in his house, so which is kind of cool, and it's got that old D&D book look, so that's cool. And then I got these, which I kickstarted, and I got like all the back ones because I just had them in PDF, but I got Cocaine Owlbear.
I did not back Cocaine Owlbear.
Cocaine Owlbear Deluxe Savage Edition. I have no idea what all these are. Cocaine Owlbear Deluxe Snowblind Edition. Same cover art. I have no idea. And Cocaine Owlbear Halloween Edition. Because that's coming up soon. So this seems like...
Just think of the starving children in Africa that you could have fed with that money.
Well, if you shoot the Cocaine Owlbear, you can feed a whole bunch of them.
They'll be going really well.
Is that for Shadowdark or OSE? Or
this tastes gamey.
No, it's its own its own kind of thing. Yeah. I think there's a version for
Roger, the people need to know.
No.
He's not silent, Vince.
I'm not I just do a lot there.
Have a problem.
Yeah, Marvel gimmick.
Yes, he does have a problem.
Yeah, I just have a problem. Yeah, or the Kickstarter's 2 years late, you lose interest, so you sell it to a guy you watch on YouTube. Yeah, that's happened a couple times. I think he's referring to me, right, for something. Is that? I don't know. Somebody bought
He
Dolmen
is selling
wood, I
me.
think.
Yes, he is selling me his dolmen wood
Oh, you're buying it.
this week.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't
I liked Dolmenwood. That was good.
Yeah, I'm looking
No,
forward to
it's fine. It's fine. I don't have an issue with it, and I'm in a game on Saturday nights, and it's fine. My whole issue with the Dolmenwood thing was that when it was announced and they were making it, I was in on it, and I was running. I believe I was running Basic Fantasy at the time, and I had some ideas that I was taking from Dolmenwood, and I was excited to have it. And then the campaign switched to Castles and Crusades, and I ran Castles and Crusades for like a year and a half, and then we switched to Shadow Dark, and I still didn't get the Dolmenwood books. And then finally, when we're like wrapping up the with Shadow Dark and talking about switching again, then Dolmenwood shows up, and it got here, and I was like, man, I'm so far past what I had planned for like all of this stuff. Like it's just so like late. So I put it on the shelf, and we just switched to Forbidden Lands. And so I don't know. There might be some of it that I poured over, but it's just the system and kind of the way the world works in Forbidden Lands isn't exactly how everything works in Dolmenwood. So I got to figure out some of that stuff. I think I can pour it over, but I can't just whole cloth hexes. So
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in running it. I mean, I would play it because I'll play about anything. But the more you guys talk about, like, man, this sounds really interesting. Like, I want to read the lore on this. This sounds really cool to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm
looking forward.
There's definitely a lot. There's like something in every hex. And when you find the something in every hex, you have no idea like what it is or where it goes to or what so you just got to like hope that you find out.
And I like that it's not Dungeons and Dragons. The Fade that you're dealing with are not out of the DMG or the Monster Manual. So that when I look at it, like, oh,
but they die all the same.
Oh God.
Well, a sword will do wonders for most things.
Dan is a fanatical cleric.
I'm a fanatical cleric of the Plurtine Church of the one true God, putting death to all the Fae in Dolmenwood, and it is awesome.
That's
excellent.
Excellent.
Yep.
That's Dan's
Nothing like genocide to get the Saturday night rolling.
So
hey, you know what? I kick back, I hang out with my buddies, I drink a few, and we commit some war crimes. But as the fat electrician says, it's never a war crime the first time.
So we're here to talk about a different game. So Stray Crows, Ronin, right? So is the I just because I'm confused here, Jim, right? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Stray Crows is the name of the game, or is it Stray Crows Ronin, and that's also the title of the first book? How is that?
So here's what happened. I was developing it for about, I guess, 18 months under the name Ronin. Mm-hmm. And then some walkable game called Ronin came along and stole my thunder.
I backed that too. Yeah. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, there you go. So I was like, well, bugger. There goes my search engine optimization. What can I call my game that is going to stand out and not be so obvious so that people will be able to find me? Kicked around a whole bunch of ideas and eventually settled on Stray Crows. And then the core book is Ronin. The Magic and Monsters book is Three Candle Crown. Mm-hmm. And the solo player and GM tools book is Autumn Moon.
Cool.
So, but I subtitled the Kickstarter Stray Crows Ronin because otherwise people weren't going to know what Stray Crows meant or was. So that's why it's confusing, but it helps me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm confused easily, so
makes sense to me.
So, and it's interesting. There's some really cool stuff that you've got going on with this Kickstarter and this game, and that there's a couple things I don't like, but I mean, I don't want to harp on that stuff. But so I mean, this with everything, right? There's always stuff that give and take, but I like that you call out like at first when you look at it, it's a 3-book set. You look at it, you say, okay, it's 3 books, and that's the normal kind of thing, right? Like 3 core books for a game or whatever. But if you look at it, it's you and you specify this right in the Kickstarter, Ronin, the first book, is the only book that you need.
Yeah.
Now, is that like, and then the second book, Three Candle Crown, right? That's the magic
Yeah.
and monsters and stuff. So is the first book just like men and normal, like historical type of stuff, and so there's no magic and no like fantastical elements, or
Right. So mostly it is the system and some basic grounding on the setting, in history, all of that kind of thing. It has the bare bones of the magic rules, so you can introduce magic to the game if you want, just from the core book. And it also has some bare bones versions of like tables for generating adventures and treasure and stuff like that that are filled out more in the other books as well. So the intention is that if that's all you want, you can just get that and you will be perfectly able to run a game. You just won't have access to the fully expanded magic rules and all the example spells and everything. You won't have access to the supernatural monsters, or magical items and things like that. But then the game is kind of meant to be more of a toolkit anyway, so you can twiddle the dials and how much magic do I want? Do I want monsters? Do I not? Do I want a purely historical game? Do I want to move it more into horror? You know, whatever you want to do with it, really.
That's cool. That's cool. I mentioned this backstage a little bit, and I wanted to get into it, and you know, so that everybody knows here. But well, some of these people know this already, but like, and I mentioned it, like historical games, or anything that has like a huge setting. That, like I mentioned, Star Wars and like Lord of the Rings. Those are the two biggest ones, I think. Like, I always hesitate running a game, you know, in those worlds or in like a historical, you know, context, because, well, one, like, I mean, it's not that I don't know like some of the history and all that stuff, but there's all the minutia and all the little stuff, and there's always somebody at the table that knows more than I do. And like at that point, I feel they should be the one running the game instead of, you know, being, oh, well, if we're here at this time and this is going on, and then this should be here, or I should be able to get this then because, you know, the thing on Hoth didn't happen yet because, so we can't find an empty base there because we know that this happened last year and this is 4 years after and Steve, shut up. So, that didn't sound too pointed at any. I just pulled a random name. So you put in specifically. You put in. I've seen it in the Kickstarter. It's worded a little different, and on the Postmortem Studios page, it says historically grounded without becoming homework.
Yeah,
and I like that because that sounds like I can do it, like permission to do what I want with it. You know, like that. I don't have to be.
Yeah, a lot of it's about setting expectations, I think. I mean, if you want to be incredibly historically anal about the setting and everything, you certainly can. If that gets you off, if that's what you like, by all means. What I usually aim for in all of my games, though it manifests in different ways depending on the game, is a design principle that I call plausibility, which just means it has to pass then and there at the table. Yeah, it doesn't have to be absolutely historically accurate, you know, down to the finest detail, and you shouldn't worry about that. It's more about keeping the game going. So this is by default, it's set during the Sengoku period, which is the time of great civil war between different houses and so on, throughout Japan, sort of their mirror of the Three Kingdoms in China, really. And that is a chaotic, tumultuous time, and most people living their day-to-day lives had no idea what was going on in the next valley, let alone the next domain. So you probably shouldn't let it worry you too much at the table either. Yeah, maybe you happen across a battlefield. You know, you're not going to know necessarily who was fighting who or why or who won or whatever else. And by default, characters are people who have been displaced or dispossessed by these conflicts and sort of thrown out on the road. making their
Mhm.
way, getting into trouble. Michael Knight on a horse sort of thing, really. Drifting
Ooh.
from place to place, getting into trouble is the idea. But you can use the game to play later, because once the Sengoku period is over, Japan kind of settles down for about 200 to 300 years, where not a lot particularly changes. So you've got this whole span of time in which you could play different kinds of games, or you could go all the way into fantasy and play Monster Hunters, or have some kind of terrible fate befall the islands and you're trying to survive. So there's a bunch of different ways you could play it. But yeah, you absolutely do not have to be finicky about the history. It's more about the experience and fun of learning. I think I'm still learning things, and I've been studying it for 2 years. So,
Yeah. And I enjoy that it's like you've written it to be like episodic. Like that's always, like, for me, I think that's a preferred. I mean, I like an overarching story or something, but it's nice to be able to just do things one session at a time and complete things, and then this way you don't have to worry about, oh, we're 3 levels deep in the dungeon, and George can't make it, and like, but this other guy can, so his character poofs or disappears or is out sick, or and this guy is just here, we found him in a bucket, whatever, some crazy stuff. So I do enjoy like the episodic thing where you go, you do a thing, hey, there's people attacking this town, or the crops are gonna, you just go and you deal with it, and then you come back to town, and then next week there's a different group.
It's a bit of a lost art, I think. Probably ever since the Hickman Revolution, people have been stuck deep into these overarching stories and plots and full-on campaigns, and that's great. I do enjoy that, but I think there is still something to be said for getting together, going on an adventure, completing the adventure, and then going on to another adventure, because that's how we used to play modules. The story was the characters going from adventure to adventure. It wasn't this whole big thing. So I mean, I can't make anyone play how I want them to play, but I wanted to kind of encourage and create the impression that you could have fun doing that. So
yeah. No, I mean, it definitely seems like fun. I kind of like the especially after looking at like the Kickstarter preview there. I like the art direction. I like it's that it's like black and white for the most part, but there's a few like key, like in any art where there's color, it's always just one color.
It's a splash.
Yeah. And I really like that that kind of design.
I'm trying to evoke minimalism, I guess, on the one hand, which people strongly associate with Japan, and the books are meant to have this vibe that kind of carries through the whole thing to try and immerse you in the culture. And the artwork is primarily based on sumi-e, which is sort of ink and wash. Very simple, very minimalistic Japanese art. Which is a shame, because I commissioned a whole bunch of like concept art right at the beginning of the project that was in a completely different direction. I'm going to have to find a way to use that somehow. But yeah, all the new art that I'm commissioning is more the sumi-e style stuff.
Cool. And and I really appreciate that you say in the Kickstarter that the writing is done. And you just need, to go to like layout and editing a little bit. And then, the art's already, is all the art's been commissioned?
Not all the art yet, because I need to know how much money I have.
Sure.
So when it closes out, I will commission more art.
Sure.
But we got a few pieces in already. So.
And we talk about that all the time when we talk about, a lot of delays in Kickstarters, and a lot of it is, other than like crazy, ridiculous stretch goals, where people get into trouble with that. The biggest thing we see is like people go to Kickstarter with something and it's not done being written yet.
Colvin.
And you get to like, the fulfillment time, and they're like, yeah, we're almost done writing. It's going to go out. I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean almost? You like, so, and that gets annoying in a hurry, so, you know, so props on, having things lined up and done. And I mean, the Kickstarter page looks nice. I mean, you got a lot of decent art and stuff on there. I mean, I'm by no means, whatever, like a designer. Well, connoisseur. No, I just spend money. Like that's what.
Yeah.
But but no, it looks good. Like I said, looking at the art, it's really cool. I mean, the cover art is nice. That first picture that you got there, where it's the guy, like I guess I'll call him a samurai because I don't know any better, but and there's the red leaves there. Like I really like the single color that adds to all the art there. It really looks good.
This is one of the print proofs, and it's like 95% what the final cover for that book will look like.
Oh, cool.
So since you showed that, one of the things this is a minor issue for me. Okay, minor issue. I'm sure that you've heard it before. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but those books are square, Jim.
Yes, that's deliberate.
How am I supposed to put that on a shelf and have it line up nicely with everything else?
You put them on their side like this.
Oh, we're done. I gotta go.
Hey, Roger, just take note. He does have the title and of the book and the author on the spine going the proper way.
That's
At
true.
least those aren't upside down.
That's true. I have 2 books where the words on the spine go in the wrong direction, and it makes my eye twitch every time I look at it.
Yeah, my man cannot handle Beneath the Sunken Catacomb because the spine is upside down.
But Grim, spines are always a last thought, I think. So the Wraith the Oblivion LARP book was meant to be called Oblivion, and on the side it says Oblivion. So spines are always the last.
Yeah. Not a fan of laying them flat, but that's me. Pet peeve. I don't know. Maybe books are square in Japan, and I'm just not that smart. I don't know.
They were for quite some time, and certain books are still square. I was going to be even worse. I was going to print it backwards.
Oh, that'd be bad.
Oh my god! See,
but unfortunately, the print on demand I was using, they can't do that. So if I did do that, it would have the barcode on the front cover, which I decided against in the end.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because that would definitely put me out. Like, because I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah, Jason was all excited. He's like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I tried. I tried.
Oh man, no, they look neat. I mean, watching you hold them up and looking at them, I mean, they do look cool. The Dolmenwood thing, like that got to me because they're A4. Right.
Yeah.
You're muted, man.
A4.
Yeah,
Sorry.
A4. And so like they sit on the shelf and they're like an inch taller than the rest of the books that are around them.
Well,
and it just
imagine how I feel with your letter format.
what
even is it?
I know. I will say that you guys, I guess I'll point the finger. It's all your fault, Grim, but no, like having it so that every size is exactly double the previous size. Genius. I know 8.5 by 11 is a standard sheet of paper. No, I get it. It's not great, but so there's something to be said about the A series and the B series of paper.
Yeah.
Paul wants to know how the game plays.
So
okay. Well, there are playtest sessions and a recent demo game on my streaming channel, which is called Grim Streams. And there are various explainer videos on my main channel, which is called Postmortem Video.
So that link I have, and I can put that in the chat.
Can you expand on the question at all?
Paul wants to know if this game is another BX clone. That's his main question.
Right.
No, there you go, Paul.
Do you want me to go into a little spiel about that?
Sure. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. No,
okay. So part of the genesis for the project was I was looking at all the OSR games, and they're basically all clones of Beck Me. And I was thinking, well, there's a whole bunch of other old games that haven't really had their day, haven't been brought
Jason's
back.
going to lose his mind when you say it. I want you to know that.
There's a bunch of cool stuff out there. So I started looking through. So I started looking through a lot of the older games, and I settled on Bushido. Yep. And I thought, well, okay, that was the first game to tackle this stuff. And yeah, its system is kind of a bit of a D&D clone, so that might be a good way to ease some OSR people across into trying other things. So I started the project as a retro clone of Bushido. Then I realized the Bushido guys are still alive and still sell Bushido. And so I felt like a bit of a dick if I was to clone their game for them, especially since they also did Sengoku, which was kind of a sequel-ish. Mm-hmm. But I'd already done all this research, and I gotten really excited for the project, and I still wanted to do something sort of OSR adjacent. So I decided to keep going in the spirit of Bushido rather than the letter of it. So now it's more of a sort of modernized OSR adjacent, faster playing, very dangerous Mythic Japan game that you can play either historically or you can lean in the other way. But that was kind of the genesis of the project, and it ended up somewhere very different. Cool.
I don't know if you know Chubby Funster, Grim, but
I know, I do know Mr. Funster. Yes.
He wants to clarify that Bushido is the Vietnamese art of cheese making.
There will be a supplement eventually or something on Vietnam, so you can make cheese then if you want. But do keep in mind that's probably a losing bet because most people in Asia are lactose intolerant, so it's probably not the best business.
Oh, me too. The goat showed up late. Something we will never forgive her for. Oh, maybe we will, probably. But I'm unfamiliar with the system in Bushido, but you said that it's sort of like an OSR clone.
Most early games didn't stray too far from D&D as like a template. Like you can look at Tunnels and Trolls, and even though it plays out very differently, you can see the D&D DNA in it, and the same is true of Bushido and some others. It had a few innovations, but it was still laid out like a war game, like chapter and verse of the rules. They all had these reference numbers next to them. It didn't really go into the background at all, or the history particularly, because it kind of assumed that if you wanted to play a game set in historical Japan, then clearly you were interested enough in historical Japan to know something about it, which is not an assumption that you'd make these days with a game. So that was interesting. But yeah, there was a lot of room for respectful modification and updating, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed like you have like the wound chart there, like somebody can like break an arm or leg or something, and there's like 5. I mean, I skimmed it. I'm not, but but I know that there's like 5 blocks there, and that's like that basically limits your hit points right until you get that taken care of. And then I assume that every block is another. And that heals like what, like 1 per day or something, or like 1 per.
That's more like 1 per week if you've suffered a really severe wound. Now, if you introduce magic into your game, maybe you can heal a bit quicker. But it does mean that you're going to have to lay low if you've gotten, severely beaten up in a fight and had something broken or cut off or whatever, as you should.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that's always got me about some of the like I've always been a fan of like what they call now the West Marches kind of system or whatever. And to me, that's just the way. It's just D&D, whatever. But and so I like players having multiple characters and like things like that, and it makes it hard to sort of push that when you have games that have magical healing, because it's like, yeah, my arm got cut off and my leg's broken, and and it's like, oh, let's go see Dan the cleric, and like, oh, he's gonna cast regen, and
No,
it's like, all right, I'm good to go.
I'm gonna cast Smite Fairy.
And I kind of miss like the days of like, oh, you got to rest for 3 weeks, you know what I mean, to come back.
Yeah.
So it seems like you can do that if you don't put too much magic into the system.
Yeah, I think the trick is to turn those periods of time into features rather than bugs. So the focus of the adventure might shift suddenly to finding a healer and holding up where the bandits can't find you. Getting the villagers on side. Maybe some of the rest of your group who are actually feeling relatively healthy can go off and find some rare herb or something. So that to me is what the approach you should take to that kind of situation.
Yeah. No, I like go on a quest for the healer, and then you get to the healer, and the healer says, well, you got to get this mythical flower that only grows on the eastern slopes of this mountain that's guarded by a yeti or something. And
yeah,
I mean, I assume there's no yeti. There's a yeti somewhere in the Japanese mythology.
That's Tibetan, so not so much.
They got to have a big furry monster that lives on a hill, no?
There's a bunch of large, horrible monsters that will eat your face. So
sorry, I'm terrible with knowing some of this historical mythology stuff. I'm not.
Bears are hard.
Bears.
Get magic. Bears.
I just flipped through like the monster manuals. Oh, this looks cool. Let's throw this out there. Type of thing. But
maybe
Jason,
sake bear rather than opium bear. Opium bear.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
he's much more sedate than cocaine bear. I don't get it or whatever.
So, yeah, I know. Like Jason's been excited. Like we did a video, top 5 games that. What was it? Top 5 games we're desperate to get to the table or something like that. And Bushido was on his list, and he's like, oh, I want it. And I said flat out, like, yeah, there's no way I'm running that, because I don't know enough about, historic Japan to like I don't think I could do it justice, So, but this, you're basically like, I've got permission from the author to do whatever I want. So,
yeah.
So that's you, Grim, but so that sounds good.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I like, I can appreciate that approach. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of people out there that say, no, this is the setting that's with the thing, and you have to run it like you have to run this setting with this system, and otherwise it's not. It's not the game or whatever, there's some connotation there to that, so I appreciate that.
I'm very resigned to the fact that once people buy the book, it's out of my hands. So, do whatever.
You're not going to go and police the people on Reddit for.
I'm not going to hire the Pinkertons to come around and
yeah,
straighten everybody out.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, that seems to be the thing to do if you're, a publisher, right? That's just that. But yeah. So, like I said, Jason's kind of been, into this. I'm sure you've got some questions or I
have several
comments. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure I'm missing a lot.
I actually had a notepad and I wrote a bunch of questions out, and I can't find the freaking notepad, so I'm a little annoyed with myself. Roger mentioned cocaine bears, related but totally different. do kami are they present in this? By default, because they're magical spirits. Depending on how you want to look at them.
Yeah. So like I say, the default setting, if you don't want to bring in any of that magical stuff, it is non-magical, and you just won't have kind of overt magic. You'll still have divinations, and people still believe in the kami. They still make the offerings and so on.
Yeah.
So it can still be there as a hook in the game.
Cool.
Then, if you want to bring in sort of low magic, you can start bringing in those kind of elements a bit more and making them more manifest in the world. And then, if you really want to, you can go all out and you can have full-on magic and spirits and ghosts everywhere. So, yeah, it's a toolkit, so you can bring in those elements to whatever degree that you want. Like I say, the whole purpose of the 3 books and the artwork and the way in which I present it, I'm talking about plausibility and so on. It's all about trying to create this vibe where you can, to some degree, experience that world and what people believed and how they interacted. It's one thing I thought. I was never quite happy with Legend of the Five Rings, but we did play a really long campaign that we had a lot of fun with. And one thing that was really good at was giving you little sort of hooks into the culture. So, like, gifts have to be refused 3 times, or how many times you had to bow, things like that. And those can be hugely effective in bringing you into the world. So there's some of that in it, trying to just put across little things that give you a sense that you're in that world and things are different.
Cool. How much does religion, at the time of this, there's Christianity is starting to creep in. Buddhism is big. Shinto is still big. So are those factors in the game? And I know that as a DM or player, I can put that stuff in there, but is it in there by design?
Yes, it is all in there. This is so Japan is religiously a little bit weird anyway, and if we take in from the Sengoku period right through to the end of the Edo period, there's quite a lot of change, but in other ways, Japan doesn't change that much. Their belief systems are very syncretic. So you have a real mix of Buddhism and Shinto and Ainu animism, folk beliefs, superstition. Christianity does come in and then is repressed. And so you end up with a very weird version of Christianity in Japan at the time. So you could play characters that are involved in that, but in a similar way, but to a lesser extent, to the way in which Christianity bonded with like West African beliefs to form voodoo and other sort of pseudo-religious mythic traditions. You get a bit of that as well, and that rears its head in a lot of anime. Though I must stress, this is not an anime game where you have weird beliefs that center around Christianity as well. I mean, if you want to play a Jesuit missionary on a mission in Japan, you absolutely can. there are ways to do that. But yeah, it's such a mix. What I found really fascinating doing this research was, like, the last previous big historical project I did was Whitechester, which is this prison city in the early modern period, just after the English Civil War, so during the Restoration. And there were all these sort of extremist, very socialistic Christian religious groups at the time, like the Quakers. But you had the Ranters, the Diggers, the Levelers, and that is also present in Japan at the time, because the Buddhist warrior monks, the Sohai, they were involved in all of the wars in Sengoku. But a lot of the monasteries and the Sohai sided with peasants and even declared independence in some provinces, where they ran them for like 75 years as these kind of religious farming collectives. It's where some of the legends of the ninja come from. No, ninja aren't real. So yeah, it's key, but it's also just kind of in the background a lot, in the folk beliefs and the superstitions and the magic and the charms and all this stuff. Like it's there, but most of the time it's not confrontational, which is how we tend to think about religion in the West, I think. Instead, people just kind of mix and match and have, form their own sort of sets of beliefs in different areas. So someone might go to Buddhist temple but also leave offerings at a Shinto shrine, and maybe under the floorboards they have a badly translated pamphlet of the Gospel of Mark or something. Yeah, and that's perfectly, well, normal-ish. It's a thing. So yeah, it's a short answer. Yeah, it's in there.
Cool, great.
Cool.
Um,
Malaquin, I just want to get a couple of comments here. Malaquin says, after running and playing a playtest, it runs smooth, but you can die in a heartbeat if you're not careful.
yeah.
So I assume that's like you have like sword play. I saw that you have like rules for dueling and things like that. And so I assume that happens like pretty quick. It's like a one or two roll type of thing, and you can just die.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a combat last more than 4 turns.
Okay.
Yet.
Yeah.
Because it's that deadly. Characters do get a little bit of plot armor in the form of chi, and you can sacrifice experience dice to save your character's skin. So there are ways to give characters a little bit more plot armor, but it's fast because it is so deadly, and because everything you do, the decisions have weight. So you should avoid getting into fights if at all possible. And if you do get into fights, be very decisive.
Yeah, as if you're actually. I mean, that's how it is, right? When you're walking around with a sword, where one wrong move and you're
the moment
dead,
someone takes an excessive risk, they're done for pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting, and that definitely like helps to shape the game and the way it's played. I mean, we've noticed that, and like, I mean, now we're playing Forbidden Lands, right? And before that it was Shadow Dark, and like they're both kind of systems that can be very deadly in their own ways. And so like the players are very careful to not use combat when, not for everything. Whereas in like a D&D, especially if it's a more modern version of it, it's like, oh, I got 60 hit points. Like, yeah, let's go, wade into the 60 goblins and try and, or whatever. So that's,
I mean, with a good enough roll, you could John Wick someone with a quill. So
yeah. Yeah, with a quill. I like that. Yeah.
An armed society is a polite society, and an armed society with 2 hit points is a very polite society.
Chubby says he watched the Shogun series, and that makes him an expert on Japan.
I would consider what the original series or the new one.
He's probably talking about the new one.
Probably the new one.
Right. Yeah. I'd consider that sufficient grounding to run a game.
I'll be honest here. And I know I'll get some gruff from probably 3 people on the stream and half the chat, but I couldn't get through it. I got like, I don't know, 2 episodes in, and like, the show was fine. I didn't have any issue with it. I did not realize that it was all going to be in Japanese.
It should be in Japanese.
I know. But I watched Chernobyl. In Chernobyl, they didn't even do the accents, the Russian accents. And I started watching Shogun, and I was watching it with Jean, my wife, and like, I don't know, when I watch TV, it's usually late at night. I want to sit down and I want to relax and just watch something. And because I had to read the subtitles and stuff, like, it was just, it wasn't relaxing to me. It was like homework, and it felt like I was reading and my brain was like active, and I couldn't just like veg out and watch it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's why it's harder for me to get through it. So please commence with the razzing.
I read the books. I think I love the book Shogun, and it's, I think, it's a continuing saga. I thought the show was absolutely amazing, and for me, the subtitles, man, like at first I'm like, I have to focus on the subtitles, but then once I start getting used to them, I don't even realize that I'm reading subtitles anymore. I'm hearing Japanese, and I understand it. I don't speak Japanese. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm
Yeah, yeah.
reading them at a speed as they're speaking. It's like I don't even realize I'm doing it anymore. Yeah, big fan.
Thanks, Goat. Appreciate it.
There needs to be more roasting of Roger in the chat and less agreeing. Jeff,
Yes.
Vince, both of you are letting me down.
Oh, hey,
Vince
look, how's
especially.
Forbidden Lands going? Matt, Forbidden Lands is going well after 2 sessions. Thanks for asking.
We should get back to that, because I would love to talk about Forbidden Lands, but I want to talk to Grim about this stuff, man. I've been waiting for this. I don't want to get sidetracked tonight. I'm focused.
No. You're yeah. No, that's great.
I love that the third book is solo rules, because I know that Roger is never going to run this. And I, as I said in the beginning, I live out in the middle of nowhere, and I mean, there's no one around me. I have to drive an hour to go play with Roger on Sundays. So I will be playing this by myself. So I am delighted that, and I did the Murder of Crows edition. I'm all in on this. So I'm delighted that I'm going to have access to solo rules that are built into the game and that are going to allow me to play this so that I can enjoy this game, even if it's by myself. I'm super excited about that. I have a couple more questions. I'm looking at the stretch goals. The first stretch goal is the Koreans and Vietnamese, the Gaijin.
Yep.
Is there? I don't know what like your battle map is for like further stretch goals if we get that far. When Goat first told me, in fact, let me back up. We were on stream a couple weeks ago, and Goat mentioned that there was a Kickstarter being released that she had worked on, and I was like, "Oh, sweet! What is it?" And she told me about this, and I was like, "A spiritual successor to Bushido? What?" So I immediately jumped on the Kickstarter and backed it. And so I'm reading it, and I told Goat, I'm a video game nerd. I am a massive fan of Ghost of Tsushima. I absolutely love that. Every single thing about that game, I love. This Ronin takes place after the Mongol invasion of Japan. Is with the Vietnamese and the Koreans through the Gaijin, is there going to be a Mongol/Chinese version or addition that I can use to run that?
So my ambition is to build out from Stray Crows, Ronin, to eventually take in the history of other parts of Asia and Southeast Asia, because Southeast Asia in particular is woefully underserved by games, which I think is a huge pity, because it's all fascinating, and the monsters and ghosts and spirits that people believed in these areas, people don't know about, which is always nice to bring to a game. It's kind of how we've had this trend of like Slavic monsters for a while, because people in the West don't really know about them, and that makes them fresh and interesting. So we did hit the stretch goal for the Imjin War. So there'll be more in depth on Korea. I'm going to have to pare that book back because it's almost as big as the core books now. That's too much. So I need to strip that back. But obviously, China was involved in that conflict. So you're starting to kind of get into China in that period as well there. As for the Mongols and the Mongol invasion, that is before this period, and a lot of the things that people think of when they think of medieval Japan aren't necessarily present during the Mongol invasions. Like Ghost of Tsushima, while a brilliant game, took an awful lot of liberties.
Absolutely.
Ghost of Yotai is a bit more historically grounded, I would say. I enjoyed that one as well. Okay. So maybe at some point in the future, I do have a couple of people, including an actual woman from Mongolia who is really keen and pressuring me to to do something on the Mongols.
Awesome.
So yeah, that might, maybe she twists my arm a little harder. I'll get to it quicker. But we'll see. We'll see how it does. But I have ambitions.
Excellent. Great. Another thing that Goat and I had talked about was for the stretch goals, and I think you mentioned it in one of the updates, the possibility of these wooden dice.
Yes.
Is that still on the table? I know it's a stretch goal. We're not there yet, but is it something that you're still looking at?
Yeah, so I'm still looking at it. I have costed it, and I should be getting some proofs at some point. But if the projections on the Kickstarter are right, we won't get to a high enough level. I put it as like the ultimate stretch goal because it's such a hassle to get stuff shipped, especially at the moment from China, and it takes so long to do the back and forth. Like, send me a sample. Okay, a sample looks all right. Oh, I need this changed. Get another sample. With the shipping times and everything being what they are, it would be a huge ball ache to get it done.
Sure.
So if we get a lot more money, I will take the trouble. Otherwise, probably not. I might still try and get them done as something people can buy separately, because something just feels right about using wooden dice for this. I don't know what it is, and they're quite big dice as well. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, you know, as a player, and I started the night off by look at my new shiny dice. I love dice, but the choice of yet another set of dice or more material for the game, I'll always take more material for the game. So
Yeah.
I think you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's easier for me to supply more material than it is to get more physical goods and sort out all the shipping and so on. Like, I'm skipping some of the shipping problems by using print on demand.
Yeah.
Partly because it's just easier for me not to have to deal with warehousing and shipping and all that, but also with the situation in the world being what it is, prices for shipping are constantly going up. Delays are constantly going up. The print on demand company Lulu, they print the files locally in different regions, so a lot less problems potentially there. So it's a good way of doing an end run around all these issues at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't by chance happen to have a Lucerne hammer statted out in the game, do you?
Why would you want one when you can have a Tetsuba?
We did an episode maybe a month and a half ago on different weapons and trying to figure out like how many you need and how many games should have and all that. And we got into a huge discussion on pole arms and how many pole arms do you really need. And the Lucerne hammer is apparently one of Jason's favorite weapons, and
it is.
He was pulling out.
Weapon. Yes,
he was pulling out pictures and from books, and we literally talked for 45 minutes about Lucerne hammers. Yes. So some of the edgelord in the chat is like, oh yeah, let's jump on this.
Yeah. So it's a meme that's never gonna die. But
it's a good one too. Yeah, Chubby does have a good question.
Chubby's got a great question. Yeah.
Throw that one up there. Oh, sorry,
you got.
We both clicked. You do it. I ain't touching nothing.
Okay. Sorry. What's an example of a typical plot quest adventure in Stray Crows? Sorry, jeez, I'm trying to not read what he's writing. I'm sure that was a typo.
So you're basically wanderers and vagabonds by default. Trying to travel and find somewhere quiet. You happen across a village. The village has a problem. Maybe there's been a murder, or one of the armies took all their rice because we're an army and we're important and we'll cut your heads off if you don't give us all your food. Or maybe there was a clash between armies or scouting groups nearby, and now there's a bunch of bodies lying in the river, but the bodies are unclean, so nobody from the village wants to go and deal with that. But if they don't get buried properly, maybe they'll arise as hungry ghosts and cause problems. And depending on the spin that you're taking on the game, any of those things could happen. and you're constantly scraping by for whatever money you can find, whatever food you can find, whatever shelter you can find. So why not take on these tasks? Because everyone else is busy fighting wars, so there's a lot of room for people. That's why I set it in Sengoku, was because status was still important but not as important, so you could have groups of characters from very different social stations together, and because the powers that be aren't really necessarily in a position to help anybody. So who do you turn to? Well, there's this Ronin. His lord was killed 6 months ago. He's at a bit of a loose end. He's still got a sword, knows what he's doing. Help us. So that sort of thing. Sweep into town, solve a problem, leave.
Do you envision people running like a Ronin and like a group? Like how do you envision like the group of players? Like is it a group of Ronin, or is it like one Ronin and like just a bunch of hangabouts? I guess.
Well, everyone has things that they can do. So you don't have to have an entire group of samurai or whatever. Though you can if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's useful to have a peasant along, because they know the land, they know how to survive, they know how to find food. Okay. They can talk to people without them groveling in the dirt at your feet, begging you not to kill them, which is always useful to have someone who can do that. There are more social characters, which are good at sort of lubricating situations. You can be a shinobi or a criminal, which gives you access to certain aspects as well. If you're playing a magical game, or even if you're not, it's useful to have a priest or a monk or a magician along to help deal with supernatural threats or superstitions, that sort of thing. So the idea with it being more episodic is that whoever turns up at the session that week and wants to play and has their character with them, you can play. You don't need to account for other players not being there, other characters not being there. You can pretty much manage with whoever shows up, and just adapt things a little. So I envision mixed groups, and it's just that they come together for these adventures, and then maybe the next adventure it's not the same people or the same characters. Maybe you decide, I'm not really vibing with that character, I'm going to try something else, and you can do that without much problem, really.
That's
interesting.
Great.
The goat, the eclectic goat, has a question asking if you've explained anthology play yet.
Well, yeah, this is the episodic play that we've been talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah,
an anthology, related stories, maybe related characters, maybe. If people want to run campaigns, they can, and there are domain rules in the book. So if your band of happy misfits gets gifted a patch of land or takes over a fortress or something, you can become petty lords and run an area. So that's accounted for.
I like that. I assume that means you also have stuff like associated with that. Like in that section, there's like stuff that like tables and charts of like what can happen.
Yep.
Like bandits try and take over your keep or your village or whatever, and things like that.
Yeah, I envision that sort of game being played a bit like Pendragon, where you have your seasons and then you have challenges each season you need to deal with. And if you don't deal with them, then maybe your harvest suffers. If your harvest suffers, people begin to starve and die or wander away, or you don't have any money and your fort falls into disrepair or whatever else. That's how I envision that being played. But then the third book has tons of random tables for just about anything you could want. You can go really deep in that, so you can access those if you want something a little bit more varied for things that could happen in your domain.
Yeah. Well, this is really making me interested in this. I don't know whether that's good or not. I don't know. You're doing a fantastic job. You're doing a fantastic job, Grim.
Buy my shit.
I backed it actually while we were chatting. Excellent. But I really like like everything that you're saying is really helping with sorry, Paul over here is catching up from Roger saying he didn't watch Shogun because of subtitles.
That's
Just like
right.
the Switch to Stan's channel might
Subscriber numbers are plummeting.
People don't like it. Wow, thanks, Paul. Thank you for your support, Paul. Paul's going to come on next week, by the way. So
Excellent.
it's going to be him complaining. No, the playing. Let me get back to what I was saying. I'll get sidetracked for
Thanks, Paul.
forever. Yeah, getting Roger to Kickstarter is not much of a hurdle. Well, I enjoy that the episodic play, like that's interesting to me. The using like a diverse group, with different things. I like that you've got like the third book is for generation of stuff. So it makes it easy, to come up with stuff on the fly, and you could just roll and say, oh, okay, this is happening, and kind of go with the adventure from there.
So in that third book, right? So if you couldn't think of a character, you can start by rolling a social class and then figuring out what your parents did, figuring out how big your family is. You can generate the names of the family. Then, okay, did we live in a village, a town, or a city? A village. What was that village like? What province was it in? What were its main exports? What are the shops there? How many families lived there? You can go that deep if you want to. You can just fill out the whole thing. And you don't need to have put in any real thought yourself. And it's all historically weighted towards the very beginning of the Edo period, because they got really good at keeping records then. So it should produce results that somewhat resemble Japan in that period from what you're rolling, in terms of what businesses there were, what professions people had, which names were most common. Yeah, I went deep into that stuff.
Nice. So for those people out there that don't know when the Edo period is, when is that?
So it depends when you count the end of the Sengoku period from. There is some discussion on that matter, but it's basically in the early 1600s.
1600s. Okay.
And then from then through to about the 19th century, the early 19th century is the Edo period. So yeah, 200 years.
Are there? I'm not great with like the timeline and stuff, especially in Japan, because I know they were, like shut off, from the rest of the world there for a while. Are there firearms? Are there like muskets and stuff at this time? So the West is kind of.
It's one of the most interesting things in the research for this, actually. So the Portuguese rock up at Japan and look, we've got these big gun things that go bang, isn't that cool? And the Japanese go, no, this is dishonorable and horrible. And then another bunch of Japanese people went, this is fantastic, I want as many of them as possible, please. So they took them and they almost immediately started making their own. But their guns are very different to the Western ones. They never really adopted the flintlock. They stuck with the matchlock. You pull the trigger and a lighted taper hits the pan and bang. But then they developed it in this whole sort of all off in their own way. Like they're different shapes. They have these rounded butts and they fire them from the cheek, which is not something I would want to do with one of these things, but that's where they fire them from. And they're quite ornate. And they built things like rain guards over the match, which we never did because we moved on to flintlocks. So there's this whole sort of parallel evolution of firearms, which is really fascinating. And through this period, you had reformers who were keen on as many guns as possible, but you had conservatives who didn't really want the firearms very much and didn't think they were very good, but guns won out in the end. But you also had this period during which the main people who used firearms were ashigaru, so they were the conscript soldiers, not the samurai. And a lot of women used firearms. There was a whole there was the wife of an important samurai. He was killed, and or was stuck away from their fortress, and she trained all of her ladies in waiting in using firearms, and they became one of the deadliest units that there were, and successfully defended the castle several times.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy, but really, really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if this will help with Paul or not. Probably not. But I did watch that Tom Cruise movie, The Last Samurai. I did see that. I don't know if that counts. Paul, anything? Well, but I just don't. I mean, it's not a normal, like it's not a setting that I'm hugely interested in. Like so, but but this looks interesting. Obviously, I backed it. Now I'm gonna have to look into running it and seeing what I can do. Run some short things, maybe do some one shots with it, or chain them together and see where it goes. Might be fun. I do enjoy. I know going back, I do enjoy that the sword fights that can go quick and whatnot, because that's really how it was. So yeah, that seems really cool.
So with the fights, there is something else which I think is important to bring up. So after everyone's had their turn, you have what's called an environmental turn. So that's
cool.
where you do all your bookkeeping, like you're on fire, take another bit of damage, you're poisoned, make a roll against that or whatever. But it also allows the games master to intercede in the scene and change something about it. So that stops people getting too sort of chop at each other, like a lot of role-playing game combats end up, because you can just throw a spanner in the works. So say they're fighting in a bamboo grove or something, and then it comes around to the environmental turn and you feel that the combat's not interesting enough, then so maybe a stray strike with a sword has cut through some of the bamboo and it slides down and makes this enormous crash and a bunch of birds fly up. So then you force everyone to make a save roll not to get distracted or something. And those who succeed and aren't distracted then might have an advantage in the next section of the combat. So it just lets you muck around and keep things dynamic. So if you're fighting in a burning building, that would be the turn in which you would make the fire spread, or maybe it sparks a small keg of gunpowder down below and there's a big explosion or something. So it's just to encourage you to think dynamically about the combat space and what can happen to people in it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like that there's other things going on and you make a spot for it. Like that's that's something that I know, like people in the OSR, like PDM talks about it. I know he's got it in his game. You at the beginning of combat, you roll a D4 and then something happens, or whatever, and that sort of allows something to happen, or I guess in the background or something that's going on. I've always liked things that kind of incorporate that into the rules, so you can use that. Because it's not just a static fight all the time. There's definitely environmental stuff going on, or so that's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm thinking about this now.
And with the bamboo thing, like as soon as you said a sword cuts it, I was thinking now it's an environmental hazard, because now there's this razor sharp bamboo spike in the middle of the battlefield, and most characters are not going to be wearing armor. And man, I'm super excited for this. I really am. I have more questions or comments for you. I'm looking at the Kickstarter and the bullets on the side. A society that notices what you do. I really like that. For me, that should be important. It's how your fellows and how strangers see you in the world, especially in the world of this such a strict social hierarchy. It's really important that it's in the game. One of the things that it annoys me greatly about 5th edition is that they took the knight and they made him a fighter that you call a knight sometimes. A knight's a noble. This is not a peasant wearing armor. And so it's and just like in in Japanese society, just because you had a katana didn't mean you were a samurai. A samurai was a social class. You know, the bushi was the fighter that wielded the sword. So I was reading, and there's face, honor, just this list of things. So it's not just one thing. I just love the detail you're putting into this. I'm so excited.
So I was kind of in two minds about some of the social stuff, because it is important, but overly mechanizing it can take something away. So what I've ended up with is a bit of a halfway house in that it is reflected mechanically, but there is wiggle room for a lot of things. And on is really important in Japanese culture, but I don't really go into that. The role of on, the obligations that people have to one another, is kind of reflected in a social currency. So I turn giri into explicitly a social currency, which also gives you as a games master a way to reward players that isn't just ladening them down with treasure that they don't know what to do with. So basically that is, if you fulfill your obligations and you do good in society, you will accumulate giri. So you do good for society, society owes you, and then you can spend that as you would money, but in a much vaguer sort of sense. So like we were talking earlier about how someone might be wounded, right? And they need to lay low or whatever. So say you've been doing all these heroics, being a sort of Japanese Robin Hood for a while, and you've accumulated a lot of giri, and then suddenly you need the peasants to back you up. You can then start spending it. But eventually you're going to run out. What have you done for me lately? Sort of idea. And so they're going to start thinking of you as a mooch, or maybe he's not worth the risk anymore, that sort of thing, as that wears down. So some of it's a little bit abstracted, some of it's a little bit mechanized. I'm like 95% happy with it, but I can't see how I would get that other 5%, because I think it's one of the harder things to understand about Japanese society, is that it is an honor and a face culture, and it is much more collectivist, much more communitarian. This idea of mutual responsibility and so on, which is kind of the antithesis of a lot of Western values and ideas. So it being the hardest thing to get across to people, it needed that scaffold of a system to help people get it.
And like you said, we're all Western players. So if you start getting into that really fine minutia, it's going to bog the game down, and players are going to start getting bored with it. So I think you're striking a really good balance there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rooster, definitely not 5e or 5.5 based. Definitely not.
It is its own rule set, but if you sort of squint slightly and look at it, you will recognize OSR-ish elements. It does use a D20 or 2D10, so the kind of difficulty levels and bonuses and things should be quite intuitive to you. I should probably mention that, actually. So one of the core components of the system is you swap between using a D20 or 2D10, depending on the circumstance. So if you're doing like your day-to-day job, like if you're a farrier and you're shoeing horses all day long, you're going to be rolling 2D10 and adding your skill bonus, and that'll give you your result, because that gives you a nice probability spike.
Oh, right.
Around 9, 10, 11. Whereas if a samurai lord thunders into town, drags you out of your bed, hauls you into the smithy and says, my horse threw a shoe, I need a new one right now, and puts his sword to your throat and tells you to get going, that's a stressful situation in which you might not produce your best work, in which case you roll a d20. Right? And so in combat, you'll be rolling d20, because that's a flat probability line. Something really bad might happen 5% of the time. Something really good might happen 5% of the time. But one thing I've never liked about a lot of d20 rolls in games is they have this wild swing between one end and the other. So by switching to 2d10, Yeah, you create reliable professional results for skilled characters in relaxed situations, but you can still get that, that wild swing advantage and disadvantage in things like combat or tense situations where everything hangs on that roll. So that's a key innovation I think I've put into the system.
Ryan asks if Musashi roll 2d10 in combat.
Well, by default you always roll d20 in combat. Could you roll 2d10 in combat if you were doing a sort of display, I guess, or a kata, or just kind of sparring with someone? Maybe you could do 2d10 then.
Paul says it's part of the social setting. More of an unwritten buy-in from the players. Good ones, at least, to play as if you exist in the world, but hobos gotta murder. So I think there's something like and Grim, correct me if I'm wrong with this one, right? But it seems to me that even if like you're out in the wild and there's something, there's just some peasants or something out there that maybe just have daggers or whatever, and you have swords. Like I think there's still something there where like you can get into a fight with them, but if you try and do that, like there's still a chance that they get a good hit on you and you bleed out right there on the road. So even with that, like you still want to try and avoid, being the murder hobo.
Even against the worst, most pathetic opponent, there's always a chance they could get a really good roll or you could get a really bad roll, and then you're kind of screwed. It's like they say about knife fights, right? It's to decide who dies there and who dies in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the differentiation, that's the winning. So, yeah.
What about 4D5? What do you like? 4, 5. Mothership Matt is he's a DCC player too, so he and I have I prefer the D7s over the D5s, but that's a personal
I do like preference. The DCC dice, and they do let you do an elongated dice ladder, which I'm going to do in some games somewhere. But not.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to see that someone else appreciates the dice chain and the D5 or the D. You see these guys shaking their heads. They hate those weird dice. I've had people call the D7 the microwave die because it looks like you put a D8 in the microwave for like 10 seconds.
I'm bringing my DCC dice to the next CNY con so I can just stare at you while I put them in the auction pile.
So I'm gonna have to start running more DCC just for funsies.
You don't have to do that.
but I'll run it out from time to time, and Jason always gives me shoes like, I brought my stupid dice. Like what
Yep.
But so thank you, Grim, for being on my side with that stuff.
A wonky dice aficionado.
He's got something for everybody.
Yeah. So no, that's cool. Yeah. And Malequence is my favorite part is anyone can attempt many of the stunts, but taking a -5 penalty, but a skilled performer can reduce the penalty to 0. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the way special moves and techniques work. Again, it's not an anime game, so you're not going to be like hurling flames off your sword or whatever necessarily. And it's lifted the stunt system from my Machinations of the Space Princess game. So it's just a really quick and easy way for a games master to improvise. You want to do what? Okay, make an attack roll at -5 and we'll see if it happens. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I basically ported that across. So if you have practice techniques, you reduce the penalty until you can do whatever crazy stunt it is with no penalty.
Yeah. I love how you use it. Yeah, people are on that now. Mr. Bluff oops, all funnels coming to CNY. They hate funnels too. Most of these people hate funnels. I don't know. But Matt's going to make it.
We're doing pretty good.
Amazing Rangers game only uses Zaki dice. There you go. It'll get. So, yeah. This guy's lousy with all the funnels. Yeah. No fun. We're not going to have a fun. We're not going to have funnel con.
I know
We
that
won't have
Roger
funnel.
downloaded a preview type thing. I do not have this preview. Where can I download this at?
Oh,
It's you can get it off drive-through, or you can get it from my site, post-mort.com. It should be at the very top of the page,
Great. Cool.
yeah.
and it's free.
I'll put the link there. Let me copy this.
Surely, if you had a funnel convention, right, everyone gets one character when they come in, and whoever's left at the end of the con, everyone else gets kicked out.
Okay.
You
That
have to
I'm
leave
down
when you
for.
die. You have to leave when you die. Oh my god.
195 people have left the con. There's 5 people sitting at one table.
No, we won't do a funnel
Yeah.
con, but if somebody wants to run a funnel, they're more than welcome to. If anybody
You're
wants to
so
play in mine,
accommodating.
I'll run one.
Sometimes it is
Go ahead.
fun just to not care what happens to your character.
Well, that's
Yes.
con games in general, though.
Yes. Yes, I agree, Jim. But these guys, they don't. Dan and I did a video on funnels, a quick, like 10, 15-minute video, maybe.
Yeah, it was
On-
the
on
first.
funnels.
It was the first
And
fight that Edgelord and I had in our new fledgling relationship. Because he
And
likes
Dan-
funnels, and I think they're dumb.
Dan's just not a funnels guy. Yeah.
No,
I don't know. I get it. But do I run this or Bushido at CNY 27? Well, I mean,
Why not
well,
both?
Grim, here's a great question. What's your estimated in hand day?
So I said May of next year. I suspect it will be well before that because it's all already written, and
Excellent.
Goat is busily editing as we speak. And the moment that the Kickstarter ends, you will get the raw text files for whatever you backed, just in case I get hit by a bus or something, So no matter what, people will have a slightly older plain text version of the game that is perfectly playable.
Yeah.
So you will have that, so you can run games from then. And that, we end in 8 days to go. So
Yeah.
You'll
Cool.
have something in 8 to 10 days.
So Ryan, no excuse for not running Bushido mid-June. CNY is June 10th through 13th. Yeah, 11th through 13th, and we're
obviously
doing
you
a
should just run both.
Thursday thing,
Yeah.
or run both, and then we can compare notes. Run both, and then you can talk about it. That'd be fantastic.
I also
So,
backed
yeah.
all of Solomon Kane, Ryan.
I did not.
I bought it the first time round, Savage Worlds edition.
Goat is having dinner, second pass. Well, get on it. No time. Eat while you're editing.
And I have also already written the adventure stretch goal that we got at £9,000, Kokozamushi. And I finished the first draft of the Imjin War, as I mentioned earlier, but I need to trim it back. It's too big. So,
Who's Mr. Blaffe says, Stan, if you run Hyperborea. I know Dan was
yeah,
talking
what
about
are my
running,
Hyperborea games? Chop liver?
Dan was talking about running Hyperborea
Yeah.
at CNY. Edgelord, I don't know if Edgelord is I don't know if he's kidding or not, but that's kind of a valid question, right? Are there I don't know if do anti-samurai exist? Is that like a thing, like Blackguard in that's a no.
You would
That
just be an
sounded-
opposing samurai.
I guess you could do the 7 Samurai thing and be the guy pretending to be a samurai.
He was one of the best characters, though.
Yeah. Or a Ronin who has completely lost his house and his honor and everything else, and is just a sort of bitter, horrible guy. Or a bandit.
bitter and alone. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Paul, I don't back every game on Kickstarter. Just, a lot of them. But I'm trying to do better. Especially after we did our list. I'm trying to do better. So, eventually, like, I'm not going to be able to run games. I've only got so many years left to run games. And that brings me to a point. I don't know if I don't want to tread on too soft ground here. I know you had someone that was working with you on the project that
Yeah.
that passed.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Would he go on YouTube and comment on streams and stuff? Was he in?
Yeah, sometimes.
Because the name looks familiar, and I thought I've seen him on some streams talking about like cooking and stuff. And
Yeah,
reading
that
your
sounds
thing,
like
it says that he was a chef. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I got the right person, because I've never really I never talked to him face to face.
Yeah, that was Ed
So.
Ed Kopp.
Yeah,
Edward Kopp.
yeah.
He was New York, so he went to a lot of conventions and things there.
Okay.
And yeah, he was working on it with me, but he passed a little while ago. Just sudden cardiac event out of nowhere. So these things happen, unfortunately. So
Yeah, it's yeah, and we did a show like I said, like the top 5 games that like we're desperate to play, and like we talked about that, because somebody had passed, and Judd Vance. I don't know if you've heard of Judd Vance, but he passed. He was like a war gamer, and he was on Bart's YouTube channel, Bonding with Board Games, and he was on there, and he got cancer, and he died. And before he passed, he made this post on Board Game Geek that was basically, here's these games that I wanted to play that I didn't get to play, and like he wrote that like 2 or 3 days before he passed, and it was like that really it really hit me, of like, I mean, you can see part of the shelves behind me, right? Like, I mean, it's full of books and all this stuff, and I back stuff all the time, and it's like, if you add up all the time that it would take for me to like run everything, like I don't have enough time left, so like, it's important, I think, to play the game, do what you want to do and play the games that you want to play, before, because you never know.
Not to get all maudlin or anything, but I've lost a few people in more recent years, and some further back. So we lost Ed. There was a guy who used to come on my streams and play games with the crew there called Neil. He also wrote some books for me. He passed of cancer. A young artist I worked with for ages did literally get hit by a bus. That was a big shock. And I had a scare not so long ago, just at the end of COVID, where I nearly died. So these things are on my mind, and I think it is influencing some of the ways that I go about things, like making sure that this was ready before I went to crowdfunding, and making sure that everyone's going to get the text files as soon as possible. And in part, it's why there's a solo play thing, because I have shelves groaning with books that I'll never get to play. And solo play is a way, at least, to get some experience playing some of those games, so I wanted that to be a possibility. So yeah, these things are on my mind as we all get older.
Yeah, we like I said, I was running Shadow Dark in my weekly Sunday game. It's my at-home in-person game, and we switched to Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands was on my list, for a while to play, and I've been looking at it and saying, okay, maybe, and then finally was like, you know what, let's just do it, because I'm just going to push it off, and it's going to get to the point where it's never going to happen. So like, let's just do it. So I'm doing it. I converted my game, so I'm not using the built-in setting, but I'm using my own kind of setting and just playing it. We're doing it. And then last Saturday I wanted to run Inspectors. It's like we joke,
I
it's like
remember that.
Yeah, it's like Temu Ghostbusters, where it's been on my list. Like I ran it years ago, and just to have fun. But like I really want to get
a web
table.
series of that.
I don't know. I know some people did some live plays or whatever. I don't know if they. But so I ended up. I ran it on Saturday, and with some of the guys, Dan and Jason were there, and we had a blast. It was awesome.
was
Great
fun.
time. Had
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch
It
of
was a great time.
90s referential humor
Just-
and
Yeah. I mean, it's just really fun, screwy, just really gonzo stuff, and it was a blast. And I'm glad that I ran it. It was on my list for a while. Like I want to get this to the table again. I want to get this. And so, I think I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to I've been pushing away from like running online, not pushing away from like pushing against it. I really don't like it. You know, I had a Star Wars game that went online, when COVID happened, and it just wasn't the same. And some of it was some of it we were playing on Discord, and Discord will tell you what games people are playing, and we'd be playing, Star Wars, and it would say, oh, Steve's playing Hearthstone, and this guy's playing Hearthstone, and they're playing digital card games with each other while I'm running, and then
they
and
were
then
playing
what-
against each
what-
other while you
happened?
were running a game
What-
for both.
well,
of
I
them?
can't prove that, but they were both playing Hearthstone.
That would be like the
Circumstantial
ultimate
evidence
screw
says
you.
yes.
They were both playing Hearthstone. It was Steve and Tyler. I know Jason knows who both of those people are, so I'm guessing that they were. But no, and that like annoyed me. Like that put me off, and so. But now, like when I ran Inspectors, I said, you know what? Let's play cameras on, so we could see each other and all that. And I think that helps, with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was only one instance where one of us was interrupted, and it was me because I have a toddler and a wife that gives negative fucks. So
No,
sorry.
we get it.
But I had
Yeah.
I had a project on my streaming channel for a while where I'm trying to play everything I own at least once. But then that got kind of derailed by playtesting and so on. I hope to get back to that at some point. But I live out in the sticks in British terms anyway. So if I didn't play online, I wouldn't get much gaming done at all.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about that, you got any hot tips or anything that like something that you do now, like playing online that is a must for you?
I've never been a big prepper before games. I'm much more of an improvisational games master. But if I'm going to be running online, I make more notes so that there's less dead air while I'm flipping around. Not necessarily minded of the audience necessarily, but just mindful that the people on the other end of the screen are waiting, and somehow it feels different when you're around the table and hang on, I need to find this rule. It's different at the table than it is over webcams and things. So more prep than usual, and even more than usual make rulings, not rules. Sure.
Yeah. It's definitely, there's definitely like around the table when a GM or a player or they're, okay, hey, I want to cast a spell. Like, okay, what's the spell? What's it say in the description? Okay, they pull open their book, and you can watch them physically pick up the book and flip through, to the right page. And it even though that takes the same amount of time, right, or even shorter online when they got to look in the PDF, you don't see that. So like it's just dead air time, and that like for me, like watching live plays, like I can't do it because that stuff takes like an eternity. For me to like watch, so I have trouble watching.
There is one thing that I find really useful about online play, and that is people can change their screen name and their avatar, so it's a lot easier to remember who is playing what and what that character is. I've toyed with the idea in the past of making little paper dolls of people's characters to put in front of them at the table in real space games to help remind you as well. But it seems like a step too far, I think.
I'll do that at convention games. Like I carry around index cards with me, so I'll have people fold and put their name and like their character name and like their class or anything about them there. So I could look around the table and see, but yeah, it's nice when you could do that online and then you're like right on the screen. It's right there. So yeah, that's cool stuff. Stan, you've been pretty quiet. You you got any questions about this game? Anything that you're
Um,
dying to
I
know?
don't really have questions. I will say this isn't typically a genre that grabs me, but like listening to this and like the concept for the game, I really actually kind of like it. I have the preview up now and have been skimming through it and stuff. And one of my guys that I play with is in the comments, and he's interested as well. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely piqued my interest
there
more
you go.
so than this style of game usually does. So.
That's heartening
Cool.
to hear.
Yeah, it's awesome. Dan, how about you? Do you got any questions, comments?
Yeah, I mean, I'd already backed it. The art's really cool. I think the art's very evocative.
Yeah, it is.
That's probably my favorite thing. That just like looking at the Kickstarter, I think it's well organized and pretty well detailed and everything. So yeah, looking
Yeah.
forward to.
But art, you mentioned art, right? And
Mhm.
I know
I did.
Grim may or may not have mentioned another name under his breath earlier, but like I looked at a game that's similar name to this, and the art looks fantastic. The art direction.
Yeah, but the
looks great.
mechanics of the game look like shit.
Tell us how
Come
you
play
really
our
feel.
rules light dungeon crawler. By
Come-
the way, the quick start's like 400 megabytes because there's a lot of words in our.
Come on, Dan. Fresh minds, new ideas. We have to be tolerant.
The arrogance with which they try to say in their Kickstarter page, the way dungeon crawling should have been always done or whatever.
So-
Bullshit. Fuck you, MCDM.
I'm
Okay.
far too English to be that boastful.
Okay.
If
Well,
I had my
I'm far
way,
too
my
American for my
marketing-
own good. MCDM and crows?
If I had my way, my marketing would just be like, it might be all right.
Oh, boy.
Might be shit. We don't know. You decide.
I've said my piece.
Stray crows. It probably won't give you cancer.
There you go. There you go. Probably not.
The other crow game.
So Dan doesn't like the name. No, but I mean that's an important distinction, right? Because like you can look at the art on a game and think that it's awesome and think that it's great. And on the other hand, I've seen games that are good, but the art is just awful. I mean, I got that game last year. I forget the name of the game, and it was supposed to be good, and I liked the description and all of that. And I opened the box set, and there's this like anime goth, like emo elf vampire thing, like on the cover, full color, and like every page was like, what I'm talking about, Jason. You remember that box set? And it was all like that anime art. I couldn't get past it.
Yes, and both of us had the same reaction. Ew.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I couldn't even. I mean, I couldn't even like look. Like I remember thinking the mechanics were cool, and whatever, and that's why I backed it. But like looking at the art in the book, it was like on every page, and I'm like, man, I can't do this. So I mean, there's something to be said where you have to have like at least okay art and good rules, right? Like,
Yeah, so I can't afford the really overwrought art that a lot of games have, and I don't much like this kind of mushy pastel stuff that you see in 5e and a lot of its imitators. I grew up reading British comics, which all have very strong graphical styles. You think of like Kev O'Neill, who did Nemesis the Warlock, Martial Law, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That his stuff was kind of freakish, but really interesting because of it. So I tend to prefer to go for something that's got style. Now, I'm not saying the artists that I've hired for this are bad in any sense, but I've chosen them because they fit the style and the vibe. It's like I said earlier, it's all about creating that right vibe. So by going for something more minimalist, more simple, something that it evokes that feeling of Japan, I think that's more effective than just filling it with a bunch of stuff for the sake of it, really.
Yeah. No, and that's important. Cohesive art direction and stuff. And I mean, I think the art is, I don't want to say simple. Like maybe that's not like I'm not an art connoisseur or whatever, but it's it's enough for the game. It's not over the top, and it doesn't like take away from the rest of the words on the page.
Yeah. Well, I'm an art school dropout. All the best people are. So it's given me enough of a grounding in a whole bunch of different things like typography and layout and art styles and so on, that I think, that's been really useful in my career, having had that grounding. So
yeah. No, it looks good. Can't wait to see what the finished product looks like. Like I said, I'm still unsure on the square, but it's I mean, it looks fine.
You'll get over it.
Yeah, maybe. No, I mean, I think it'll be fine. I think it's better square than like landscape or something. Than another RPG tried to do.
Talking my ass for $3.
I can't. I mean, landscape is you just can't. I can't run a game.
All you got to do is store them on your shelf on the side, so the spine is down. Then they fit great.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. Yeah. Triangle books.
Triangle books. Jeez.
Paul likes to yell at me. Paul likes to yell mean things at me. He's great.
Grim,
thanks for coming, Paul.
That is the piece of art that's your background screen there. Is that going to be in the book?
That is not. I don't know where that's from, actually. I just grabbed it quickly because it's appropriate.
It's badass. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's not in the book. Oh, boy. Yeah, landscape is such a pain in the ass. Yeah, it consumes the whole table as showpieces. Yeah. I get it. I agree. See, I'm not the only one. BX Rhombus.
Maybe I'll do a paper crane edition that you have to unfold to read.
An origami edition.
There you go. More. Yeah.
It only comes on back one way.
Comes on 1,000 paper cranes that you have to unfold and put together.
Paul's right. The shape of the book matters. It's going to sit on Roger's shelf for the majority of its existence. Yeah. I'm trying, Paul. I'm trying. I'm going to start paring things down too. I'm cleaning out a bunch of stuff in the house, and I'm going to go through my games again at some point. And,
do you have the black cube? You could use this to fill in some of the gaps.
No. Oh my God, no. I didn't. I couldn't back that. You're talking about I forget the name of it now, but it's the Cipher System cube. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the Cipher System. I'm sure Paul will give me shit for that. But no, the using hit points for like to improve your rolls, like I just don't like that. I don't know. Like you have to spend points from your strength to literally make yourself weaker in order to make like a strength roll. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I get some of it, but yeah, it's
there's a new edition which is just wrapping ready to send out, I think. So I think I back that. I have embraced my role as a sort of archivist as much as someone who plays these games. So I do buy like event games that are interesting or important. So I did buy Invisible Sun, and it's a lovely object. I don't know if I'll ever be able to bring it to the table.
Yeah.
But as an example of kind of crowdfunding excess, it's an important historical document. I think that's how I'm just buying it to myself anyway.
Yeah. No, Paul. Yeah, no, I get it. Right. And that's something that, we'll see. Like I like the core of the Cipher System. I think it's, with the whole, like every difficulty level is a multiple of 3, on the thing. So it makes it really, really simple to like figure out like, oh, this is a difficulty 5 monster. Like, okay, you got to roll a 15 to hit it. And it's like, okay, well, I have a weapon, right, that can hit it. Like, okay, that brings it down to 4. That means you got to roll a 12 to hit it. And then, like, the number on the die that you have to roll, which I think is where, like, things like Thaco were, like, better, than like the ascending. And I don't want to get into that debate, right? But like, with THAC0, you looked on the chart and then you knew what you had to roll on the die. With ascending armor class, you have to roll the die and then do math every single time. And I know that like I can do that, and there's like several people that can do that. Not that that's difficult, but like I've ran so many games and I've seen so many people that roll the die and then they have to look at their sheet and like flip a page, and you know what I mean? They do the math in their head and then report what they rolled, and it's just not a natural thing. Whereas if they did the math backwards and knew what they had to roll on the die, it would be easier. I don't know. I'm like Paul says, I'm an old man yelling at the sky. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I know the new Cypher system is coming out soon, or that's on crowdfunding now. Cypher Advanced, I think they're calling it. And I haven't even looked at it. I don't know if it's any better or if there's been any major changes.
I love how Paul is just roasting you. It's great.
Actually figuring out the monster's weakness, 95. Yeah. Him and Edgelord like to gang up on me. I don't know if it's going to be a good thing to have Paul on next week.
It's delightful. Can you have me, Paul, and Edgelord on the same stream?
Might be bad. No, that's not happening. That's not happening. Yeah, it's just first grade math, right? No, I understand that, but I mean, I don't know. Grim, I don't know how it is over there, but I mean, we've got grown adults that can't do first grade math over here.
I think it's worse over there, but it's pretty bad here as well. We're usually a few years behind you, so I'm looking forward to the great dumbification over the coming decade.
Yeah, let's get everybody to uninstall TikTok and get off the internet and go outside.
Good luck with that. I mean, there's gonna be wars fought over that. I mean,
that's fine. I got a lot of guns. I mean, it's so terrible.
So
sorry, Roger. I'm spicy today.
Oh boy.
You started talking about crows, and it's just very opinionated.
I'm looking at my list of notes that I have written down, and I think I've gone through and covered mostly everything here. Historically.
Did Jason find his notepad?
I didn't, but I've asked most of the questions that I wrote down, so I'm happy. I guess I have a couple of more setting questions.
I wrote down Michael Knight on a horse because Grim said that earlier, and
that is the Straw Hat Ronin.
I just wanted everybody that I wrote that down because I thought that was amazing sounding. So
need a put that straw hat right down over your head with a little slit in it. It's just your eyes being
yeah. So sorry. No, go ahead, Jason.
You specifically mentioned the samurai woman, the wife of the samurai that defended her castle. I just read about her a couple of weeks ago. It annoys me that I cannot remember her name, but I thought it was an awesome story.
Same.
Part of that is that most people were forbidden from using the katana. They carried a wakizashi if they were allowed to have an edged weapon. Most women trained in the naginata, the pole arm. It's basically a glaive. I haven't downloaded the preview yet. I am going to tonight. Everyone's going to laugh because I'm asking this question. What kind of weapons are we looking at? Is there going to be a wide array of weapons, or is it, katana, wakizashi, that series? And you mentioned the Tetsubo.
There's various pole arms. There's different sizes of bow that you can use with different strength values, with different arrowheads. There's the black powder weapons. There's various degrees of armor. Most player characters will start out with sort of piecemeal armor rather than a full set necessarily. So there's a wide variety of weapons. The way the damage works is basically the amount you beat the defender by is how much damage you do, then reduced by armor. But depending what weapon you're using, you have different degrees of maximum damage that you can output, which is still usually enough to kill a normal person. relatively speaking. So it's all about maximizing advantage in the moment to try and take someone out. Weapons also have certain traits, and the way they're meant to work is they allow you to try certain stunts. So like if you have an impaling weapon like a spear, then the games master is encouraged to allow you to try and pierce through armor as an attack if you want to try and avoid that. Or if you've got Psi or something, you might want to try and entangle the guy's weapon, in which case, because you're using those and they're specifically designed for that, you'll have the opportunity to. But most things are deadly in the right hands. So a lot of it is to do with look. I didn't want to get too bogged down in technicalities with weapons.
Yeah.
I think that's always a risk when you're trying to do more realistic-ish games. But, does it really make a difference if you get your throat cut with a tanto or a katana?
Still
probably not. Probably still dead. So, it's there, but it becomes more of an aesthetic and character choice, I think. There is an optional rule called Mine's Bigger, and if your weapon is longer than the enemy's weapon, you get a flat +2. That is as complicated as that gets.
Okay.
Really.
Excellent.
Because there are
Now we're
spear
going back to
guys out
Musashi.
there. There are spear guys out there who get really antsy that spears aren't better in games.
As they should.
Yeah.
And that's that's like a good thing. Like, okay, if yours is bigger, it's a +2. Like that's, I'm for having, the weapons versus armor tables and like weapon speeds and lengths and all that stuff. And it's like, but that gets like it's cool, but also it's completely all unusable, right? Like because you want to do combat and you don't want to, overburden it, right?
In theory,
Thank you,
I'm
Stan.
for that. I don't think simulationism is a dirty word. I don't think realism is a dirty word. But when the rubber hits the road at the table, I cannot be asked with dealing with any of that.
Yeah,
It just slows down the game too much.
And it slows down the game to the point where it doesn't even matter. Like the extra, like you're doubling the time that it takes, and you're going to have the same result in the end, usually.
Right.
Because
over time it's going to average out to not matter. That's my favorite thing with like AD&D 1E, and I love AD&D 1E, don't get me wrong, but when people are like, oh, I run it perfectly raw, the first thing I ask is, oh, do you use the weapon versus armor table? Well, no one does.
Well, no one does. Yeah, sure.
Then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Well, you run a lot of Hyperborea and it's in there, so you should be running it because you're not running Hyperborea. Then you're playing a different game.
I'm running Dan's Hyperborea, which is awesome.
Oddly enough, I've played 3 games with Jeff Delaney, and he's never used those. Either. So.
It's guidelines than your actual rules.
It's interesting. See, you got Halfling going now. See, oh boy.
I completely agree, James.
Yeah, I just don't want.
That's James Spawn, by the way, for those that don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a debate that I don't. I don't want to get into that.
It's impossible to run AD&D 1E raw because there's contradictory rules.
I understand that. Listen, one of these days we'll have Jeffro on, and then he can tell you that you're wrong. Well, no. Stan's got some questions for him, I think. No. The weapon thing. We talked about weapons. Like I said, we got going with the Lucerne hammer, but like my theory on that is you only need as many weapons as you're actually going to have like stats or labels like for them, like if you've got a small weapon, if you're going to label them small, medium, large, and then you're going to label them, blunt, slashing, piercing, then you only need ones that fit each one. You know what I mean? Like you need a small blunt, a small piercing, a small slashing, a medium, blunt, slashing, piercing, and a large, medium, like to go beyond that. If you're not going to bother to stat it out, like why do you need 5 swords that are all medium size that do 1d8 damage Like, just call them a longsword and be done with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want
No?
the
Oh, boy.
decisions. You want the decisions that people make to mean something, and a lot of systems don't have enough of a level of granularity for that to matter.
Sure.
The thing with setting a game in Japan is, well, the 80s have a lot to answer for in people's sort of ninja and samurai fetishism. So if you don't have all the weapons that people are obsessed by, people are going to feel that you're sort of lacking something. So quite a lot of them are similar, but there's usually some statistical difference to some degree. So it is a meaningful choice.
Yeah, and I think so long as it's a meaningful choice, like it's fine, you know. So, but there's a lot of things, like I've seen like games and stuff that have, you know, they'll list like I said, like the longsword, for example, they'll list a bunch of swords that are all the same,
essentially the same
you
thing.
know?
Yeah,
they're all 1d8. That you know, there's nothing different about them, you know. So, so you know, we don't need any of that. Good night. Matt says a dynamic Japanese historical version of Pendragon would be pretty amazing, and that's, we kind of talked about that earlier, that the sort of starts to skirt that a little bit.
Yeah, if you want to play like running a domain, you can, and I brought up Pendragon as an example. So.
Yeah, no, it seems pretty cool. You know, I
like this.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, that's true. But I think that, and Grim, please correct me if I'm wrong here. I mean, I think the reason that is because a game designer knows that they have to put a bunch of rules in there that are not for them. Like, that the audience is going to want specific rules for doing specific things, even though it's something that you don't run in your own game. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Is that...
Yeah, some people want more structure, so they need the support of the rules. But I think there's another factor that's being missed there, in that as game designers, we're never happy, and we always want to fiddle with things. So we're always changing the rules, and maybe we have an eye on the next edition, or we want to try something out. So that's a big part of why we don't run our games as we've written them. Also, I forget what I've written a lot, so...
So, on the kind of that same kind of note, how do you know, like, how did you know, like, with, say, this specifically, right, that it was done? Like, how did you say, okay, this is it, I'm done tinkering, like, this is where I'm drawing the line? Or are you still going back and, like, you know, editing stuff?
I'm not really altering the system at this point. It has been play tested more than just about any other game I've written, I think. So I feel like the rules are in a good sort of robust state. There is some stuff that's come back from play testers where they don't like one thing or another, but I've decided to go against them. So, because I like the way I've got it, I can see their point. So maybe I've added a couple of little optional tweaks that you can bring in. How did I decide it was done? I don't know. Just a kind of intuition. I'm an intuitive and improvisational games master, and I'm also mostly an intuitive game designer. I mean, I've been at this over 25 years, so I guess I've kind of developed a sort of muscle memory of how things work at the table for the most part. But you still have to play test and make sure it works, and we've done so much of that I'm happy with it as it stands.
Yeah, game designers never really done. We're always tinkering, even if it's our own mind. We eventually have to just let it go. Yeah. Sure. No, I can see that, or it would never get out, right? Like, you just keep changing it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's complete in that there is a whole game there that you can take and you can play in pretty much any way you want. So what's left now is sort of adding things and expanding outwards. So, which is why we've got like the Gaijin book and the Imjin War, which I don't know how big that's going to end up being, but that's how I intend to build out. Is just add more things, expand the area.
Yeah. So what you had mentioned like the book sizes before, like, are you going to have to trim down some stuff now if you're adding so much in, or is there space for that? Or
so the adventure is about the right size that I was expecting to do. The Gaijin book is planned out, but I haven't done it yet. But that's mostly just little bits of options, like different character classes, but only how they intersect with Japan in the period. So that's not meant to be a whole separate thing. But the Imjin War kind of takes you into Korean society, how it was different from Japan. Like there is no samurai equivalent in Korea at the period, or Joseon as it was called. They had a sort of gentleman scholar class that held the same social position as samurai but weren't warriors, and if you were a military man you were seen as lesser in Korean society at the time. So I'm going to end up making it the model for what I want to do for the other countries and cultures around the area, I think, but I still need to trim it in. I guess it just kind of shows how enthusiastic I am about this project that it got out of hand. So,
yeah. Well, yeah, it definitely shows, and I mean that's a good thing, you know, that it shows you're passionate and you want to make it, you know, put in as much as you can. So are with as well as this is doing now, I mean, do you foresee content down the road? I mean, is there anything in the works already for, you know, more
I mean,
stuff,
I'm not making
or...
Deathbringer money.
no, I just mean it's not. I mean, you know, it's obviously it's gonna, you know, you're multiple times your funding goal, right? Like you're, you know, so I don't know, you know, is that a, you know, good enough thing where you're starting to plan stuff, or is it just not? We'll wait and see what happens.
Normally I finish a game and then I'm straight on to a new project that's something completely different. Normally that's just how my brain works. It's not particularly good business practice or anything. It's just once I finish something I normally get bored. I don't feel bored with this.
Okay.
And as I said, there's all these other Asian and Southeast Asian cultures that I want to get into. So this is my first Kickstarter, but it's not my first crowdfunder. I've raised money on other platforms like Indiegogo before several times. Sometimes you finish a project and you put it out and loads of people want it who didn't back it, and you find yourself onto a winner there for whatever reason. Sometimes everyone who was interested has backed the Kickstarter and no one else wants to hear about it. So I would love to do a lot more, but I'm going to have to see how the sales go for the month after I put it out on general release rather than just to the backers. But if it does well and if it continues to do well, I feel like I'm going to support this one more than I normally do.
Cool. Yeah, Paul says you should have had the $1,000 pledge tier with the sweatshop denim jackets, like somebody else did. Yeah, and yeah, we kind of covered this, right? Complete and done are two different things. Everyone creating something in the gaming industry is tweaking, changing, improving. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot on that. You know, I mean, I get it. It's, you know, you've been, but by the time the public sees the game, like you've seen it, you know, for 10 times that length of time already, you know, or whatever. So, you know, so yeah, so you're, you know, we'll see what happens in a year. And what are the plans? Like you're getting it done through Lulu. Is that the printer? Is that, and then it will be available on Lulu after it's in backers' hands, or Will the
Yeah,
PDF be available?
So the way I normally do things is, the way I'm doing things this time is as soon as it closes, I will send the raw text documents out to people. Then we'll be working on commissioning the rest of the art and laying out the PDF versions of the book. So then those will go out. And depending how long things drag on, then I might make the PDFs available for general sale, but only after, probably a week after they've gone out to all the backers. Because I always feel like backers should get first dibs. And then I'll be ordering proofs of the print versions, making sure everything is as good as it reasonably can be, and then organizing the shipping out to each individual customer of the print books. Once the print books are out the door, for some people it will take longer, but for most people they should be getting their hard copies within 2 to 3 weeks of me organizing the shipping. So I will wait probably 3 to 4 weeks and then make the print on demand available generally. So yeah, backers will get stuff early, and obviously they'll get the stretch goals, which aren't going to be available for a bit longer to the general public.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be available on Lulu, print on demand, and then you'll have PDFs on your site.
On my site and probably on drive-through, but you should always buy from me because I would make more money that way. So
and but the only way to get hardcover will be through Lulu or drive-through.
Yeah, now I've got a hard copy you won't be able to get through drive-through because I don't like the quality.
Okay. So just Lulu. Okay.
So just through Lulu, but my website post-mort.com has a back-end plugin for Lulu, so you'll be able to buy.
Oh, so you get hard copies. Site.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And
it's
these are
will be fulfilled elsewhere.
Yep. And these are hardcover books. Will you have soft cover available? Will that be an option down the road, or?
So I'm thinking of doing. Do you own any Japanese role-playing games?
No.
They've been translated or anything?
Jason's got Bushido.
No, I mean actual ones.
Oh, wait, Japan. Actually. Wait, hold on.
Oh, boy.
Konosuba, Goblin Slayer. Okay. So a lot of Japanese
I have no
RPGs.
idea what this is. I tried to read this using Google Translate. A buddy of mine, Ken, went to Japan and brought this back for me. I have no idea what it is.
Okay. Well, a lot of Japanese RPGs are printed quite cheaply and without interior art. So I might do kind of a Palladian edition, which would be more conventional format, maybe journal sized, with no art, cheap paper, black and white. So that will be a softback edition and a lot cheaper.
This has some art, very little though.
Yeah,
in the book
for whatever reason, and you would think they would because manga, but for some reason Japanese RPGs are pretty low on art.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by them.
No, that's great.
Because they've been developed kind of outside of what we've been doing for years. So they all tend to use D6 based systems, and they're very procedural, very kind of set ways of doing things. It's interesting. It's not how I would design a game, but just from a design standpoint, it's fascinating.
Interesting. I haven't really looked at any of the that stuff. Like I said, I got this one because a friend of mine went to Japan, and oh, you're in RPGs. Well, I bought you a Japanese RPG.
The official translation of Sword World, which was the biggest RPG in Japan for many, many years, is coming in October. So you'll be able to back that.
Okay. I'll have to check that one out and look at it just to see how it's designed. But interesting. So cool stuff. So we look forward to that. I think think you got some extra people excited about it.
Hope so.
So, you know, Sword Wars record of Lodos.
Lodos War.
Record of Lodos War.
Lodos War.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an anime that was based on, or that Japan made basically like their view of what it was like to play in a D&D campaign. It's actually really good. Should watch it.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
that's coming out as a game.
Yeah.
I believe so,
So there are unofficial translations of Sword World that you can find various places online, but the official translation is crowdfunding in October, I believe. So
Oh, okay.
I
Right.
Very
used to watch
similar.
that.
Very similar system to the Goblin Slayer RPG, actually.
Okay. Yeah, have to check it out. See how it is.
Lotus is great. I
Agreed.
like that a lot. I remember I stumbled upon it on accident. It was back when they had the Sci-Fi Network, and they used to actually show good stuff. And I walked out of my bedroom. My father-in-law was watching it, and it was on. And I just stopped and I was like watching this, and I'd never heard of it. I'd never followed that stuff. And then, but I was like, holy shit, this is D&D. Like, what is this all about? Then I just dove into it, and we got all like. I watched it so long ago. I got like VHS tapes and bought everyone as they released. And the original box set I still have. And then they did something like they added on to it, but it was weird because they actually went back and retconned stuff that happened in the original. Like, and it confused me at first because I was like, these characters have already met. They know each other. Why are they acting like they're all surprised that this guy's here? But the original 6, I think it was 6 tapes. Was really good.
And this is was anime?
Yeah.
Was it dubbed or was it subtitled?
Because you don't like to read.
There are dubbed versions of Record of Lodos
I had the
War
dubbed versions
that you can watch. You don't have to read the pesky words on the bottom of the screen.
Look, it was just look. I want to finish Shogun. It's not like I completely wrote it off because there were words on the bottom of the screen. I know that's the view. It was late. It's late at night. Like that's when the wife and I have time.
Please hold a moment. I know it's your show, but I have to address something. Nope, not that. Sharknado movies are amazing. All right, sorry. Please continue.
I have never partaken.
So yeah, no. And Ryan's yelling, yeah, just don't watch it at night. Yes, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
That I get. If I'm going to watch something subtitled, I need to be in the mood to pay attention to it.
I work during the day. My wife usually works the weekends, or I'm gaming on the weekends. So there's a lot of stuff going on, or we're doing something. I mean, there's always stuff going on the weekends. So it's hard to find like a Saturday. Or earlier on a Sunday where we can sit down and watch it. It's on the list. I want to finish it. That's all I meant by it. It's just when I come home from work and it's late and like after dinner and all that, I just want to sit down. No, the black bars are fine. I understand why the black bars are at the top and the bottom and the sides and all that stuff. I get it. I understand different formats. I get it. I get it. Paul.
But
please come back.
Fundamentally, I agree with you. Don't want to watch subtitles while I'm like just chilling in bed at the end of a long day. I want to watch something like The Punisher, right? And watch John Bernthal just like put holes in people. Right.
Something where I can just veg out and just kind of half or 3/4 pay attention to and like all that. And like and that's all. I just didn't, need that at night. That's all I meant by it. I want to finish it. It seems good so far. It's fine. I like the guy. I don't know his name, but the actual, he's like the Japanese guy. He played, I think he played Shredder in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action, and he's been in a couple other things. He's really awesome. I like him.
In a lot of other things.
Yeah, yes. I know. I've seen him in a bunch of things, but yeah, no, he's really cool. So I want to watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. All right. So, does anybody have any other questions for Grim or about stray crows or about Japanese culture?
I have one more question, but I have to sneeze first. And then it went away. Of course it did. Grandma,
is
I'm
tradition.
looking for Whitechester. I'm looking at postmort.com. Is that your store?
Post-mort.com.
Cool. I see the PDF. Can I get the hardcover, or do I have to do it third party?
Let me check. I may not have set it up there yet.
Oh, here it is. Yep, I found it. Print.
I found it. Okay,
Excellent. Cool. I'm going to check it out.
cool.
And that was my last question.
Yeah. Grim, obviously, listen, guys, I've listened to this. I've been sold on this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to try and run it. At least a one shot. I don't know what this is about, Jim, but I don't know if I want to know.
So, well, yeah, we were talking earlier about how a lot of Japanese monsters are like unknown and weird, and so they hit kind of different. There's a whole bunch of them that just do stupid shit to fuck with you. That's like their whole thing. So there's this one, like you're walking along at night and you see someone in the road ahead of you, and suddenly they stop and they hike up their kimono and they bend over and they show you their butthole and there's an eye poking out from it, and then they run away. And like that's their whole thing. That's their whole bag.
I think I dated that girl in college.
Is that on a random table in book 3?
I don't know if it's on a random table because I tend to believe that monsters should be meaningful encounters, and not just random. So, but it's in there.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
But yeah, the butthole monster or the butthole ghost will see you coming and going.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So, Grim, do you have anything else that we missed? Anything else you want to tell us about? You could feel free to tell us that we're all crazy. I mean,
Some things go without saying.
I
think
think
we've covered
anything. I mean, what?
I think
what do you
I
got?
think we've covered everything, pretty much. This has become a really important game to me, not just like because money, but because, to be honest, I'd lost a lot of faith in the gaming community in recent years. It just all seems to be backbiting and fighting, and you can never please anybody. Can't win, don't try. It has been rather tempting, but this has reinvigorated my interest. I also have had problems enjoying running games, which is like unheard of for me, but running demos of this, playtesting this, and sort of feeding off other people's enthusiasm as well. It's kind of brought me back in love with the hobby. Now, obviously, I'm biased, and you don't have to believe me, but that's how I felt about it. And having lost Ed, who was working on it with me, has given it even more sort of impact and meaning to me, and kind of brought me back to seeing things in a more positive light. So on a personal level, I hope it does well. And I mean, it has. It funded in 35 minutes and is like 5 times the goal or something now. So yeah, and you can be sure that you'll get something, and that I will bust my hump to get the final version out to people as quickly as possible, because I agonize about these sorts of things. So
Yeah,
you will get something. Yeah, and everyone's support means the world to me.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, you got our support, and hopefully, it keeps doing well. And you got another week left, so you'll get that bump in a few days when they do the 48-hour notice there. So
Yeah.
good times. So thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Appreciate the GOAT for hooking us up, putting us together here, having a conversation. So
for telling me about it. I never would have heard about it otherwise.
Telling Jason about it. Yeah. So he goes on about Bushido. So now he's going to start going on about this probably.
I look forward to going on about crows. The good version.
Spread the word.
Stray crows.
Stray crows,
Just
yes.
gotta, yeah, okay. So yeah, no, and we'll tell everybody, and we've had a decent number of people watching, so they've seen it. Hopefully they back it and all that. So if that's it, yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thank you guys out there. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Got to get to 500 subs by February 1st, because otherwise they're changing everything. And subscribe to Dan's channel too, because he's trying to get there, because we both want to beat Jeff there. So
Thank you. And this is why I'm your senior staff.
And go and watch Stan's videos, because he needs to get his numbers up. So go and just put his videos on in the background. let him go and loop. But yeah. So thanks everybody for coming, and Grim, it's good to have you, and
Anytime.
hopefully we'll see you again. Take care, everybody.
Thanks,
Good night,
Grim. It was
all.
a pleasure.
See you.